Newman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Schultz. Troxel.
Aye.
And Brian.
Aye. Any correspondence or board member reports? Let's do correspondence first. Any correspondence?
We had, what did I have in there?
You had the Rotary.
Yep, we had Rotary is continuing to purchase books for our elementary students in 3rd grade. We're all very excited about that. They partner with us. And each student gets a book, which is very exciting. So we love that partnership. I know the kids enjoy that too. So that's a wonderful thing. And yeah, that's it.
Any board member reports? Okay, we're going to move into comments from visitors. Just a reminder, there's a 5-minute limit per speaker. So comments from visitors at this time.
Good evening to all of you guys. I'm here tonight to bring to light a situation in which I've sat on for a few weeks now, and it's cost me a lot of tears. And I rewrote this speech a million times. If any of you know my husband and I personally, you know exactly the kind of parents we are. We hold our children accountable, and we do have very high expectations of them. We, unfortunately, always tend to believe the adults in situations and always accuse our children for causing the issues, only for that to backfire on us numerous times as long as our students have been in this district. Over 2 years ago, we had a problem with a teacher that led us to having to get our son evaluated in order to get a diagnosis, which could lead us to getting him a 504 put in place. By the time all of that took place, that whole school year was pretty much a loss, and we focused solely on getting through the year and getting on to the next grade. His 504 was put into place in February of 2023. Our 504 meeting number 2 was held school year 2023-24. I sat down with Mr. Edison, his very first year at the school, his teacher, and a few other support staff the week school started. We went through his 504 and got it all taken care of, and we were ready for a great year. His teacher and support staff left, with it being Kyle's first year. We stayed and chatted about issues that my children have had in the past. And Kyle asked me, how have you never pulled your kids from this school? He then asked me about my son's ADHD diagnosis, even stated that everything in his 504 should be common sense to a teacher. I told him that I was willing to work with the school. I wanted it to be successful, not just for my son, but also for the staff as well. I am not naive, and I know that he can be a handful at times when he's having a hard time, and I really wanted to work together with the school to make it enjoyable for everybody. Kyle seemed to agree and understand, and when I left there, I texted a friend of mine who's in charge of the 504s and IEPs at another school district, and I quote said, I was honestly so nervous, but after today, I was able to breathe a sigh of relief. Last school year went great. There were very few hiccups, but overall, it was a great school year. His teacher and I kept in contact and addressed issues as they came. His 504 meeting number 3 was done over the phone with Mrs. Merrick before school started this year. We didn't change anything from previous school year because last year was smooth sailing, so why change something that isn't broke? Fast forward, we had an issue in school in November, which I had to address about my son being sent to the gymnasium for over 2 hours at a time. And then as the closer we got to Christmas break, small little things were adding up, and I just brushed it under the rug and thought, we'll get to Christmas break, everybody will get their breaks. We'll resume in January after a break and recoup. After him coming home since we came back from Christmas break, telling me things, and me, once again, blaming him over and over for his behavior, the countless tears he shed, along with his sister telling me things, I decided we needed a meeting. Something somewhere had gone wrong, and I wanted everyone to get back on a level playing field. I can't keep seeing my child like this, and as an adult, I can only imagine how the teacher is feeling, because again, I'm not naive. He can be a handful when he's having a hard time. I had told the school numerous times that he feeds off of how he is being treated, and I could just tell that something was not right, and we needed to regroup and get back on a level playing field. February 3rd, 2025 was the 4th 504 meeting I had at the school. That was the date that everything for me within the school changed. Mr. Dennison, for the 3rd time this year, was upset that my son had told me about a situation. He was upset that he emailed me twice prior. He had been mad about the relationship I had created with him and the fact that he does tell me everything. He has told my son that he needs to learn how to take a joke when he had been singled out. He has also told my son that he doesn't have to tell his mom everything. And now just before this 504 He was distraught that my son emailed me from the school email about a situation at school, which ironically, 2 days later, elementary students were then banned from being able to email out or receive emails from outside the school. Also in this meeting, Kyle looked at me and claimed he never knew my son had ADHD and that the proper paperwork had never been turned in. Now, if you know anything about 504s, that paperwork has to be turned in before you can even have a meeting and get one in place. Therefore, I know he was wrong. We went back and forth about that because the letter from the doctor, his Vanderbilt and Connors forms had been turned in prior to even being able to schedule a 504 meeting, let alone have the meeting and put one in place. I also learned that the diagnosis on his 504 had been changed from ADHD to anxiety, a diagnosis in which my child has never received. I also learned that accommodations had been changed and modified, in which explained why my son kept coming home telling me they won't let me do X, Y, and Z because they say it's not in my 504. Yet I had not had a meeting and changed anything. Once leaving the meeting, I went right to his medical provider's office and to the therapist's office and requested all medical records from the start of this in January of 23. I do have all these records if anyone would like to see them, but I'm not giving you all a copy of them. Never once was there anything listed about anxiety in his medical records, but in fact, my son did go for a 6th grade physical, and off to the side of his physical form, the doctor jotted down the word anxiety in reference to him that exact day because he was anxious because he had to get shots. But it was not in the diagnosis line nor in the true diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder. So not only was all of his paperwork lost, his diagnosis had been changed on his 504. Medical providers could lose their license and face prison time for doing such things. But that's not the problem in my eyes. I'm a real life person, and most of you teachers have known I'm a prime example of losing papers. Well, in that 504 meeting, I was applauded at how I parented my children and how whenever any of my kids get in trouble, they own up to their mistake and never try to lie their way out of it because we've always held them accountable and taught our children to own up to their mistakes. We learn from them and overall make them better people. All the while, he looked at me dead in the face and told me that my son's legal paperwork had never been turned in, which was a lie. I then reached out to Tammy Bryan from the regional office to see if they had by chance filed it in their Embrace system. She looked into it and it had not been filed. However, she did look further into it and found out, and she was told that it had gone missing prior to Kyle moving into the district, which is another lie. Because this is my 3rd meeting with the school since Kyle moved in, and they would have noticed that long before this meeting. So was it that it was never turned in and I was blamed, or was it that it got lost, which is also illegal? Where is the accountability and where is the transparency? As a concerned parent, I feel it is imperative to raise a matter that deeply concerns me regarding the actions of both staff and administration. It is troubling to me that while there is an expectation for students to be held accountable for their actions, the same standard does not appear to be applied to the administration and staff. More specifically, I am concerned about the modification of medical records and diagnoses. Changing someone's medical diagnosis is not only unethical, but it could be considered a criminal act. How can we as parents trust this school when there is clear evidence of tampering with vital medical records to suit certain agendas? If those entrusted with the well-being and education of our children are allowed to alter legal documents without consequence, it raises serious questions about the integrity of Wethersfield School. I urge each of you to reflect on these concerns and reconsider how such actions or lack of accountability surrounding them can continue without repercussions. If any of you can stand behind the idea of tampering with legal and medical documentation, I believe it is time to seriously evaluate why you hold your positions on this board. I'm asking all of you as a board to sit back and look at the big picture here. There are a lot of unhappy families at Wethersfield, but unfortunately they won't speak up due to the retaliation on their children. Families have left this district and there are more families considering. There is one realtor that I know personally just in this town that has 5 Wethersfield families looking for homes on the Kewanee side. I am telling you this so maybe you can look at what's going on within the district and learn that whatever it is not working. I am asking for the board members to please release our address from the district. We are the last house on our country road that is Wethersfield district. We have a Neponset address, which Neponset filters to Kewanee district, but we live in Stark County. I will give you a formal letter asking for that as well. In closing, I encourage this entire board to go home tonight and reflect on your commitment. When When you ran for school board, you were making a commitment to those within the district. Go home tonight and reflect as to why you want to be on this board. Are you currently sitting here because you genuinely care about making a difference in these children's lives? Are you here because you are trying to uphold a name? Are you here because a family or friend wants you to be here? But I encourage you, if you aren't here because you want to use your voice to make a difference, that you should kindly step down off the board and allow someone else that will use their voice to have your seat. This board has allowed this administration way more power than what they need, and I really hope you guys start looking in and asking questions, because I know I have emailed about issues, and no response is an actual bigger response, and it takes 2 seconds to reply to an email and say, I'm sorry, let me look into this. But ignoring all of these people that have sent you issues tells everybody you don't care. So a simple response goes a long way. Thank you.
Any other comments? from visitors?
I do want to say that in this packet, I have email exchanges, proof of his diagnosis being changed. I have text message conversations. I have my formal letter, and there's also legal documentation about 504s modifying, editing, and changing diagnosis. And you all agree.
Any other comments?
Teach. I'm Lisa Han, I teach first grade at Wethersfield. I'm part of the MTSS team, which is basically the multi-tier system of support. I've been on that team for 16 years. So these are the steps that we take before we go to testing for special ed, or 504 plans. Kyle has joined our team, and he has been a vital asset. When he doesn't know something, he looks it up. He calls Candy Ryan all the time to get information from her. He's just been an incredible asset to his team. I have witnessed every single teacher in the elementary come into this team and just give their all for every single kid in this school. So I want to let you know that I think Kyle has been doing an amazing job, and the teachers at Wethersfield are just as amazing.
Any other comments from visitors? Okay, moving on to superintendent's reports.
Wanted just to report out a little bit. The school district was awarded that microgrid grant. Giving you an update on that, we've obviously had some changes and headwinds politically in that, but these funds were allocated prior to that, so we got a full steam ahead on that project. So I just had a DocuSign on a document yesterday. UIC is the administrator for the project, so they're putting together all of the paperwork and documentation, and they'll be dispersing the funds. So I've already submitted one invoice for reimbursement. So as we start moving further in the process, they'll be able to disperse those funds to us. So that whole process is now set up for that. The EPA grant for the 3 buses, though, we're still waiting on the word for that project. And again, that money was allocated. So the thought is that those funds will still be accessible to the district, but we're just waiting to see from the EPA on that. I wanted to mention, and it's great that LaDosha's here tonight. We're very excited. She was awarded again the catering contract for remind me the name of the CHS. And the kitchen will be providing meals during their shutdown. How many days is it this year?
Just 7 days this year.
7 days. And last year, I think we made $63,000 off of that. And we were able to purchase that new outdoor walk-in freezer with those funds. This year, we're looking at replacing the kitchen floor. And what else did we talk about? Oh, the cabinetry.
Some fast ovens or something.
the steam kettle, right? So LaDosha and the kitchen staff do a tremendous job in the district. And, she's very creative. She's constantly seeking out different ways that she can increase revenue and try new things for the students. And I mean, we constantly get compliments, and to get that contract again for this next year tells us that the employees enjoyed those meals as well. So we're very excited, and I'm glad that you're here tonight so we can talk about that. Thank you. Last thing I have on there is a scorer's table, not the new one, but the old one. What are our thoughts on the old one? We have this gigantic old scorer's table down there. We've kicked around a couple thoughts. We thought maybe we could try to sell it intact. We thought maybe we could take out those inserts and do, like backlit frames for them, some different things. So I didn't know before we move forward with a concept if anybody had any ideas or any thoughts on what we should do with that old table.
I like the idea of keeping the panels with the backlit thing. I like that. I think it's great to have, history of that stuff. So I think that's cool if we can.
Like that. Anybody have a need for a scorer's table absent the panels in the front of it? Nope. It would be kind of a cool feature if you had a barn that you were nostalgic for Wethersfield memorabilia. You have that set in there. Have milk and cookies on it maybe out there. All right, so we'll work on those designs. They might actually fit like when you go into the gym, if we can get them backlit up above the doors going in. I thought would be kind of a neat feature. So we'll look into see if they're capable of doing that. And that's all I had for tonight.
Moving on to principal reports, Mr. Dennison.
We finished up IAR state testing, so 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in the elementary end. They finished up a couple days ago. We only had 3 math units this year. We had 2 ELA units. The kids take their test from anywhere to 60 to 90 minutes. We had phenomenal effort from the kids. Attendance was outstanding. As far as makeups, I think last year I had to do 70 total makeups with kids, and this year I only had to do 28. So it's a huge testament to our parents to make sure that these kids are getting to school on time and prepared for the test. And phenomenal job by our 3 through 6 staff, because they actually changed the format of the test this year. So it's a little bit of a technology learning curve, and staff did very well with that. We had literacy night. Thank you to Mrs. Evans and Mrs. Bryan for organizing their event, along with Mrs. Newman as well. We had 88 students that joined the teachers in classrooms for a book read, a prize, or in the junior high gym for a book tasting, and over 1/4 of those kids were 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. Pet photo contest, our K kids, they donated to the Humane Society. That was done by Mrs. Evans. Phenomenal idea, great promotion. And then also too, I want to give a little shout out to Ms. Martinez and Mrs. Vincent. They've done a really nice job of bringing volunteers into the classroom, either to read with kids or do small interventions. But it really makes a kid's day when you can incorporate somebody that they look up to so highly into the classroom, and they happen to be a mystery reader. We had Dr. Seuss, Read Across America Week, last week or 2 weeks ago. My mother was actually chosen to come in and read a book, right? So she's developed a pretty good relationship with Rosalie Sturdivant. All right, so Sarah Sturdivant's little girl. And so myself, Mrs. Underwood, and Mrs. Tequita, we had dressed up in character. We go into the classroom. We thought we'd get a little attention from there, but no. Mom comes in, Lisa, and Rosalie literally runs 20 feet. She sprints over, gives her this big old hug, and wouldn't leave her side. So, I mean, it's just really cool that our teachers are working to bring influential people into the classroom to see them in kind of a different light.
Any questions, Mr. Dennison? Okay, moving on to high school, Mr. Nichols, junior high next.
I don't want to read the whole report, but I do want to highlight a couple things. Number one, we had 3 winners at our LTC Art Conference show. Right, Mrs. Kegabine?
We did.
Elise Nelson, Joey Droyer, and Oscar Cepeda, all awards. Those are displayed in the case right outside of our office, as well as a lot more art out there that Mrs. Kegabine's been working hard with the kids. All got put up this week, so please make sure you check it out before you leave. Our Key Club attended the state convention for the first time in a very long time. They really enjoyed that. Glad we gave them the opportunity to go and do that. Myself, Mrs. Newman, and Mrs. Seiden attended a great conference called Cultivating Connections, and it was all centered around how we can best support Mrs. Ration and grow our ag program. I encourage all of you, board members, to think about going to that same conference we went to this year, because there were a few board members there, and I think it definitely would be an eye opener for everyone to go and just see how impressive the state FFA and ag program is. It's really cool to see. Obviously, our Lady Geese basketball team fell in the sectional title game. Great crowds the entire time. Couldn't be more proud of them. And then I swear I didn't plan this, but this month's staff shout out is Ladosha and crew for how fantastic they do, the options they provide our kids, and it's just a well-oiled machine in there. You go into the kitchen, everybody knows exactly what they're doing. It's all on time. I see Mrs. DeValkner in there often, and Mrs. Kegabine back there for their lunches. It's just great to see. It's a welcoming place, and our kids have fantastic options, so much so that other schools are looking at what we're doing to learn from Ladosha and her whole staff. So big kudos to them.
Great job.
Yeah.
I'd like to give one more shout out. You talk about the girls going to the sectional championship, but the whole time for our home games, love the band being there. Big shout out to the band that's been there playing throughout the whole game. Sounded really good. I love how they reach out to other alums and they come in there and play. And it does. I mean, they do a great job. I absolutely love that. We've been pushing that for a little while, getting more involvement from the band. I know Hannah had a choral student come up, Macy Hauser. She sang a couple of times, but that was really cool seeing her get out there and perform when she's getting ready to play in the game, too. So that was really cool. Shout out to them.
All right, moving on to new business, we need to approve the co-op agreements with the N1 District 2226.
So move.
Baker.
Aye.
Hodge.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Schultz. Troxel.
Aye.
And Brian.
Next, we need to approve the 25-26 consolidated plan.
This is the plan we have to do every year. It's basically just updates of dates, so that in order to write our Title I, Title II, Title IV grants, we have to approve this as the first step in that process.
So moved.
Second.
Baker.
Aye.
Hodge.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Schultz. Troxel.
Aye.
And Brian.
Moving on to personnel, we need to approve Tricia Lay as National Honor Society Advisor for the 25-26 school year.
So moved. Second.
Baker.
Aye.
Hodge. Newman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Schultz. Troxel.
Aye.
And Brian.
She had a birthday too.
She had a birthday.
I had a very
Seen the
exciting
videos?
birthday.
Double nickel birthday.
And a speed limit, apparently I had to hear it, so I was asked.
Did you make the janitorial staff?
Need to approve Carrie Eastman as the K-Kid sponsor for the 25-26 school year.
So moved. Second.
Baker.
Aye.
Hodge. Newman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Schultz. Troxel. And Brian.
You accept the resignation of Aaron Pratt as assistant boys basketball coach.
So moved.
Second.
Newman Baker.
Newman Baker. Baker.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Hodge.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Schultz. Troxel.
Aye.
And Brian.
Aye.
Good job, I see you right there. That's awesome.
Moving on to executive session stuff, so we need to motion, I guess, for expulsion.
You read that.
So we need a motion for expulsion from student A from Wethersfield School District for 2 years. Unless student is wanting to complete the Excel program successfully with the recommendation for a return to Wethersfield for the 26-27 school year, if that is upheld. So, motion is second.
Second.
Ryan Schultz. Baker.
Aye.
Hodge.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Schultz. Troxel.
Aye.
And Brian.
Announcements are listed there.
A couple announcements, yeah, spring break, and then there's the candidates forum that's hosted by the League of Women Voters. That's at Kewanee City Hall on March 19th. Our next board meeting is April 10th, 2025.
Motion second to approve. So, you think?
All those in favor?
Thank you, teachers.